Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today we are sharing the delightful news that the pre-release promos from Crimson Invasion have been revealed, and ladies and gentlemen, I, for one, am delighted. Now, we do this every set. We've done it for the last few sets. I will put links in the description to previous sets. But, of course, who wants to just look at the pre-release promos when we can look at them and rank them? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we are going to do, starting off with number 4, Salazzle. Now, I'm not just putting Salazzle down on the rankings because I'm still annoyed that male Salandits don't evolve. No, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what I like. There are no terrible cards in the pre-release promos. I think there are two that are much better than the other two, but I don't think any of these are terrible. Now, we looked at Salazzle the other day. I have done videos on all of these cards, so just like previous sets worth of pre-releases, I will pop links to those videos in the description as well. So I suppose what I'm saying is check out the description. There's video links in there. They are wonderful. And I know I'm biased, but shh. So Salazzle, 2 attacks. Each of them can be used for a psychic energy. One allows you to search for 2 cards and put them into your hand. And this is pretty good. Like I said in the video I did on Salazzle, it's pretty nice. The issue is that it's a stage 1. Searching for cards is good. We've seen this in cards like Teammates and Twins and Computer Search and Talonflame with Aero Blitz. There is an awful lot to like about this attack. If this was on a basic, it would probably replace Alolan Vulpix in terms of being a starter Pokemon. And actually, there are a lot of reasons now to use starter Pokemon. Don't forget that in Sun and Moon 4 Crimson Invasion, we're also getting Counter Energy, which counts as any 2 energy, as long as it's attached to a non-EX, non-GX, and you're behind on prizes. And we're getting Counter Catcher, which is just a Pokemon Catcher without the flip, or a Lysander as an item, or a Guzma without the switch, as long as you're behind on prizes. So you're going to see a lot of players in the near future who are going to have their starter Pokemon thrown out in front, and the ideal is very much to just sit there and set up, and then as soon as your opponent takes a KO on a pointless 1 prize Pokemon, you then get access to Counter Catcher and get to KO a much more important 2 prize Pokemon on their bench. I can see Salazzle being used for that. And then we got Severe Poison for 1 psychic energy. Poison, take 4 damage counters between turns. What's really fun here is you can combine this with Seviper, who was a pre-release promo for Burning Shadows, which will then put an extra 10 damage counters on between turns. And then in Expanded, you've got Verbank City Gym as well. So you could potentially have up to 10 between turns here with 4 Seviper and a Verbank City Gym. If nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a deck worth testing in the expanded format just for all that lovely poison damage. In at number 3, we've got Alolan Raichu, and again, I don't think this one's amazing, but I think it's pretty cool. It's nice that we're finally getting an Alolan Raichu in the set, although I'm not a huge fan of the artwork here. I think the regular artwork in the set is much better. But Alolan Raichu's alright. It's got the ability Surge Surfer, named after the ability in the video game. In the video game, Alolan Raichu, gets double speed if it's in electric terrain. In the trading card game, it has no retreat cost if there's a stadium in play. And by now, you guys should know that I'm a fan of when the video game and trading card game makes sense. As for the attack, it is Psychic, which is the same as it's been on a whole bunch of Pokemon, including the often used Oranguru from Sun and Moon, although I should point out that Raichu is 70 plus, whereas Oranguru is 60 plus, so it is slightly better, but then again, it is a stage 1, and Oranguru sees play for the ability, but people attack with it. Same thing for Alolan Raichu. What I will say is, if you really need a lightning type attacker, if you really need to be hitting for lightning weakness, Alolan Raichu may well have your back here, ladies and gentlemen. Outside of that, I don't think it's an amazing card, but there's almost always going to be a stadium in play, so it's almost always going to have free retreat. So, yeah, it's alright. It's not terrible. But then again, we've got the Generations Raichu, that may well do more damage for a double colourless and has free retreat without an ability that can be turned off by Garbodor. Hey ho. And then we've got 2 of the Regis as pre-release promos. What makes me really sad is that we don't have Regice as a pre-release promo. That is incredibly upsetting and sad and makes me a sad panda. Because how cool would it be if we could have pre-release promos of all 3 of them? That would be awesome. And they do all work together beautifully. So I am a big fan. And I'm sure some of you have realised this, but if you haven't, I am very much after Regirock and Registeel pre-release promos. Not so much Salazzle and Alolan Raichu, but very much the Regis. If you do find yourself with any of these that you'd be willing to part with, hit me up on Twitter at the Wassy or email me at ptcgradio@hotmail.co.uk. So, starting off at number 2 with Regirock. Regirock adds 10 damage to the attacks of your Registeel. And obviously at this point, I'm assuming you figured Registeel's number 1. Registeel is one of my favourite cards from the set. I love Registeel. Regirock allows him to do an extra 10 damage. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen, because Regice has an ability that gives it immunity to stage 2s if Regirock is on the field. Because obviously we've also got Dalmise that adds 10 damage to all metal Pokemon, including Registeel. So why would we play Regirock instead? Not just so we can play Regis, but because Regice then has immunity to stage 2s. It can hit 110 for 2 fighting and a colourless, getting KOs on stuff like Darkrai, but it's a little bit expensive. You can't use double colourless energy. And if you're already playing Metal for Registeel and Water for Regice, as I think you should, I think playing at least 2 or 3 fighting is going to be a bit much. But I love the ability on Regirock, ladies and gentlemen. And I love that it really helps with Regice as well. Although Regirock is very much the unsung hero of the Regis. Because he helps Registeel and he helps Regice. But he is helped by nobody. And that brings us to number 1, and for this, ladies and gentlemen, for me, this is an incredibly easy decision. Registeel is number 1. As you may have noticed if you've been watching my videos regularly, I think Registeel is one of the best cards in Crimson Invasion. It's got 130 HP, which is good because it puts it out of range from Golisopod, and it also means that it will take 5 energy total to get a KO with Gardevoir rather than 4. And if you've got 1 energy on, that means Gardevoir's going to need 4 energy just to get a KO. For 1 metal energy, 30 damage, and attach a basic from your discard to one of your benched Pokemon. But it's any basic energy, it doesn't have to be metal. So this is really, really nice. And the thing is, that's going to KO a Route straight away. That's going to KO an Alolan Vulpix that an awful lot of people are playing. And not only can you use Regirock to add damage here, but you could also play Fighting Fury Belt, put yourself up to 170 HP, and on turn 1 with a Fighting Fury Belt and 2 Regirock, you're hitting 60 while accelerating energy to the bench. All those pre-evolutions people are using are going to be going down quickly, and that's going to be hilarious. You'll jump ahead by a turn or 2 with Registeel. For 2 metal and a colourless, you do 90 damage. And if you had a choice band, that'll 1-hit KO Gardevoir. But to be perfectly honest, you could just go Fighting Fury Belt, double Regirock, and that would also KO a Gardevoir. It should smash Gardevoir. It should smash Alolan Ninetales. Regice gives you a chance against both Volcanion, Turtonator, and Metagross. And at the end of the day, you're still taking quick prizes with Registeel while accelerating energy. It's just got a lot of options with Regice to block stage 2s and Regice to just sit there doing a whole bunch of damage while accelerating energy. You can use Fighting Fury Belt because they're all basic. You can use Max Elixir to accelerate energy because they're all basic. I don't know if Registeel's going to be an amazing deck, but it's certainly a deck I'm going to be testing a lot in advance of the International Championships. They're happening in London between the 17th and the 19th of November, and this will be the very first time that Crimson Invasion is legal for tournament play. So I, for one, will be testing Registeel for that. One thing that I do find very interesting, the Registeel regular art, which I like, seems to show Registeel in Aether Paradise, and the pre-release promo art again seems to show it in Aether Paradise. Could that be a hint that something's going to be going on with Registeel and Aether Paradise in the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon games? I, for one, hope it does. By the way, I think the Regirock pre-release art is also much, much better than the regular art. But Salazzle and Alolan Raichu, I think, are worse. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my pre-release promo rankings. Now you know what the pre-release promos are. Now you know why you need them. And like I've said, if you have a Registeel or a Regirock you wouldn't mind getting rid of, hit me up. But the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, click that like button, click that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, tell me which one of these pre-release promos, because remember, you get one of 4 random ones at a pre-release, tell me which one you are most wanting to pull when you go to a pre-release. Make sure that you're following on Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. That's where the live action happens. And if you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods, etc., you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.